and it's like the muses come from different places, like, and you don't really want to write about just a person anymore. Anything can trigger an idea, I suppose, and I reckon that I'm not bound by my imagination. I could do this really extraordinary stuff that's quite really out there and a little bit ambitious in its own way.
So when you come up with a song like Quiver, does it evolve, or do you end up having to get to something that you knew was in your head in the first place?
It certainly evolves.
Yeah.
It evolves from just like, the perspective that it was written in. It was quite depressing to start with. It's about something coming to an end. But then somewhere along the lines, someone misinterpreted the idea of the song. And they took my line about bacteria. It was bacteria, bacterium. And they thought I was talking about agar, which is like on a petri dish.
Right.
And it was a quiver on a petri dish. And I was like, yeah, right, I'll go with that. And then the same person is Shane out of the Shambolics, and the same person, Shane, decided to point out that another name for a biped is a pentadactyl.
Right.
And a pentadactyl is a 5-fingered mammal. And a 5-fingered mammal is an ape. So I was going down the road, I was whistling it to myself, and I was like, it's missing something really, isn't it? Yeah, it's missing this kind of polyrhythmic run. And I've always envisioned it would have these bits in it. And then when I came to record it on an 8-track, a really crappy version of it, I put those little bits in, and then something ended up on an instrument instead of a vocal, and then it became like this piece. And then I practiced it a few times, played it around a couple of pubs. There was something definitely missing from it. And then recorded it with Hal, and then Becky put her input. And she kind of saved the song, to be fair. Like, it just never would have seen the light of day. I was completely depressed. And then many months down the line, she sent me her parts. I sent them to Hal, and then the actual mix I ended up using ended up in a spam box. And he just couldn't get it right. Me and John Joe were going, no, that's not right, that's not right, that's not right, But it was Becky who sort of restored the faith in the song for me, because it was like, it just didn't seem to be going anywhere. And then she brought something that was just brilliant. I wanted to use a theremin. And she added her voice. It was so beautifully expressive that I don't think I could have got it on a theremin. And it was just better than using a theremin. It was just like, wow, who needs a theremin? Yeah, you just kept it going because Hal did double track drums. He wanted it to sound more like a Beatles song. I was just thinking more like, no, Mr. Bungle. I want Divine Comedy, Mr. Bungle. That's a bit of Flaming Lips maybe. I want that. I want this big wall of sound. And he ended up putting Musical Saw on it. He deleted one of the sets of drums, and he just kept on giving us it. And then I was just like, he wouldn't let me be there to mix it, so I was just like detailed emails, telling him what to mix and where. And I was listening to it on my headphones. It was like my world. It was just like, I'm leaving my house soon. I'm going to have to move somewhere else. I've been given ample warning, and this is the only good thing I've got to hang on to. is this song? It's got better and better.
So I would say that the problem might be with that is you must always think, if we keep doing a bit more, it's going to get better. At what point do you go, that's it?
Well, we got it in Extra Simeon,
right?
Because I got that mix, and I was just like, this is it. I was only listening to it on headphones, and then I moved house. I went gigging for a couple of months around the Midlands, and then I just couldn't hold it in any longer. I was like, I really love this now. It's gonna have to be a Quiver EP. I've got these things. Got Seahorses, got Quiver, got Storyline. Never finished Storyline. Bit of a shame. But you got all these little bits that I recorded on my 8-track as well. These avant-garde bits that I put in at the end. So it's kind of like a microcosm sort of EP. Just a big blag to be able to sell it while doing gigs.
It's like when I followed the sort of path of your song, because you've kindly given me a lot of your stuff that I've got, is you create stuff and then you seem to get a big song, and so Darley was a big song, Quiver was a big song. It really feels like a season dissolved. It's not finished yet, but that feels like it's going to be
it's
a
going to
very
be
big
it's
song.
going to be huge. It's just in the very definition of the word. It's got strings on it. It's got layers of EBO, which isn't an idea I've done just now. I've used this idea a couple of times before. The layers of EBO. Sometimes it just doesn't work, but we got what we wanted this time. It was like, wow, you know, did it on a left-handed guitar as well, which is quite a challenge. Playing like a big EBO section like in time on the guitar, can't even play.
And where are you recording this? Who's recording this?
This is David Heaton, and another musical pivot in my opinion. Restore my favourite music again, la di da di da. Incredible genius, but basically we both believe it's going to sound utterly pretentious and there's no other way of saying it, but there's something called intent, but it can also be seen as the alchemical process of creating something with the raw materials you have to hand, the idea of what you want, and then you get a finished product that's perhaps not what you quite expect. And with the alchemical process, it's always like you throw in what you have to hand. So we also, and this definitely sounds pretentious, we used oblique strategies.
Eno?
Yeah, the Brian Eno cards. We used them to create the entire thing. Like, what we're going to do, like, oh, right, you know, perhaps we should have somebody else's input. Like, oh, I'll get Becky to do like some vocals, maybe a bit of piano. She would get off on that, maybe, you know, she would love that. So I was perhaps that was quite tyrannical, because she said, if there's anything else you want, let me know. I'm like, yeah, okay, I really appreciate the 3-part harmonies. Can you do us 4 R's? Like, almost like Edward Scissorhands. Do you reckon that's possible? No, not a problem at all. Then 7-part choral section with like the remaining like 4 or 5 harmonies and and then we did the main vocal. We got the strings on, got John Joe doing the strings, and again didn't quite get what I wanted the first time, so got him to do what we wanted the second time. But then we realised first time round we got some bits we could use, so that's a massive string section. And Dave was so into the track that while we were even writing it and recording it, because it was kind of like a basic idea of a song written on omnichord, I was there playing my omnichord, and he decided to just put the percussive track down, and then he nailed the right beat for it, the bolero beat. This is an omnichord.
Wow.
Complete with shambolics notes attached to the top.
That's a weird instrument. So is it like a synthesizer or?
Essentially, you got your plastic keys in 7ths, majors, and minors. So in season dissolve, you got minor, major, A minor, C. Because I got bored writing with a guitar. I just thought I'm not really I don't know, I'm a good guitarist, but like, you know, just it becomes such a cliched instrument. I wanted something a bit different. So I started writing things on omnichord probably about 3 years ago. But season dissolve's the only thing, as far as I know to date, that's actually turned into a whole song. Was about that I had a friend, and she was in India, and she was doing a conservation project, permaculture course, a place called Sedana Forest, which is really nice and warm, and we were talking about various things, and it's all in the song, everything that we talked about, which was the alchemical process. And I thought that the summer could be like an alchemical process. So, you know, it's almost like perspective, like it is a definite cycle, but it's kind of like a dislodged cycle in England. So you have to just kind of appreciate it while it's there. And then when it's gone, it's not there, obviously, so it's dissolved.
We've sort of talked about how your grand, epic soundscapes, layered with cynicism and observation, a lot of wordplay. But then when you're with Shambolics, it's very much a comedy thing that you've got going on there. Is that a release from all the other high pressure stuff that you do.
We just thought, what sort of band is this going to be? I know, let's just be a really joking red coat band, and we could just patronise the audience. So we're like, half of you are fish and half of you are chips. We're going to cover Guns of Brixton. We do Make It Easy on Yourself. Just do really stupid off the wall covers that really shouldn't be played on a charity shop keyboard with a guitar. And we had no frame of reference. We didn't know about Fly at the Conchords. We just wanted to just do something quite silly. And it got increasingly more silly, and then later on Shane jumped on board and it became a bit more silly, and then it became more structured. Like we did the action medley,
I remember the insurance medley, the kids medley, the fairy tale medley.
Yeah, the fairy tale medley was ridiculous. That was a failed experiment. Kids medley was great because just like the advertising medley, we didn't really put a huge amount of practice into it. Then we just went and did it.
You must all have a similar sense of humour. You must be laughing your heads off when you're even thinking about this.
Yeah. But I used to drink energy drinks, and I would become quite fanatical to the point of probably taking it the most seriously. Like, no, it has to be right. They wouldn't really care how half-arsed it was, I suppose. But then we kind of, when people started really feeding off it, like with the action medley. You didn't see the action medley, unfortunately, and we have got a copy of it somewhere, but I don't know where it is. But it is so tight. Like the first time we played it at the Mars Bar, which a lot of people remember, it was a boot stock, and it was terrible. It just fell to bits, and it was just like, that was a lot of work for nothing, So I just obsessively played it over Christmas, and then we came back for New Year, and we played the gig down the cellar bar, and then I just said, I want to hear the keyboard. So they turned the keyboard right up. I got Telecaster out, and then just didn't stop dancing, which I don't dance, but yeah, it was the action medley, so I made everybody follow me what I was doing, and just really threw a lot into it. But then listened back to it, and it's just immensely tight. It's just keyboard and guitar, but you wouldn't think it. You'd be like, wow, that's incredibly clever. But like I said, I just haven't got a copy of it, unfortunately. But we got Existential Blues,
which was magnificent. What struck me about Existential Blues and the Legend of Paul Jeffrey that was done on that same day, the amount of care and attention, and again, it's this giving bit. You really wanted to.
Yeah, it was a gift.
Something to remember.
It was a gift.
It was just birthday, wasn't it?
The best things that I've done musically have just been gifts. Like, this is something for somebody else. It's just always seemed to work out pretty well.